Debate Uncut. No, it's live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you? Get your butts in here.
I've already decided that I hate this mic. I like the way it sounds. I've listened back to it and it sounds great. But as soon as I went to point down to the button to join, it got in the way. I'm like,
Well, you're not going to like it when I read to you one of the chatters said you sound tinny, Nathan.
One of the people in chat, maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe the XLR's not connected correctly or something. I must be doing something wrong if it's sounding tinny. It shouldn't be sounding tinny. In any event. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon formerly known as Earth curve.
Of course not. We see too far.
Right, you keep talking because I'm going to listen back on YouTube because I might have actually made, if I have actually made a mistake and we're live with a horrible sounding audio from me, then I do actually want to double check it. So tell us about your weekend, Neil, and I'll have a quick look on the audio stream on YouTube.
My weekend is flooded with night work, which I have to do a supermarket with vinyl flooring, and you have to wrap it around every aisle, and it has to meet on both ends. It is a nightmare, and I do not want to go back, but I have to. Now, as far as Flat Earth, very disappointed to hear some of the things I've heard from Nathan Thompson or whatever. Like, come on. How long you in the game here? And you're still saying you see too far? Still talking about like laser observations from so many thousands of feet, and still asking what QE, what is a scientific model, even to bring up Han-V. I mean, come on. Let's go. Get on the ball.
I think I figured out what the problem is. I think I'm talking into the back of this microphone. Yes, I am. I'm talking into the back of it.
Sounds different already.
Yeah, that's because I was talking into the back of it. Now I need to turn the gain right back down. That's the only downside with having a mic that looks exactly the same on the front as it does on the back. You can talk into the back of it accidentally, and that's exactly what I was doing. Right, that should sound a lot better. Hopefully. What a disastrous start. There's me getting all excited about new microphones, saying how wonderful it sounds, and I'm talking into the back of it where it rejects the most possible sound.
Well, in chat, they said much better.
Yes, that's my bad. Speaking of which, I mean, as I said, albeit into the back of this microphone, I already hate it. The fact that it's so in your face. So I get why people like these big microphones, because they've got a giant diaphragm, and admittedly, it's got a very intimate sound to it. So now that it does actually sound correct, it should sound like I'm talking to you, like right next to you, as in that kind of intimate sound is good, but at what cost? It's like you have to have this giant microphone right in your face. Now, it never really occurred to me when I used to see Patricia Steer, who uses a similar style microphone, right? Albeit transformerless in her case. She's got a FET condenser, lollipop style, in front of her, and hers has got a little head on it, right? A blue microphone's got a fairly small head basket, but it's right in front of her. You don't think, well, what does that really mean when you're actually doing a show to camera? Now, I've put mine off to, as much as I can get away with, I've put it off to one side, and it still makes me feel claustrophobic. I just don't want it in front of my face. So, with that being said, I've also got, I mentioned this on last week's show, the distributor from Suez 4 distributor, let's get that in the right order, scratch that, reverse it, the distributor for Suez, which is a Russian manufacturer of microphones, akin to someone like Neumann, but in Russia. Their distributor got back in touch after I contacted Suez Direct and said, I'd like to try one of your microphones. So specifically a hypercardioid, which is what people would use if they were in a professional setting and trying to I don't know why I can't quite speak properly today. Trying to mic somebody on set, they'd use a hypercardioid microphone, which if you're a muso, you'd be more familiar with as a small pencil condenser, but with a particular type of capsule that's quite narrow and focused. Now, my boom mic is just a version of that type. It's actually a supercardioid, which is a similar sort of thing, but with an interference tube on the end of it. And because it's indoors, that isn't necessarily good. If I talk off axis, it goes all phasey and weird. And also when people... This is probably the main reason I want to do this. When people take a chunk of the video that we've done, so let's say someone edited out this section of me talking about mics now, highly unlikely, but they then repackaged it alongside a different video, edited it together with a bit of talking head over the top of it, and then published it. That publication, for whatever reason, exaggerates all of the faults in that mic that I typically use, the Rode NTG3, with its interference tube. So all those little phasey weird issues where it just cancels out some of the higher frequencies or makes them warble weirdly, that gets exaggerated each and every time someone copies a video of mine when I talk. And I listen back to someone else reproducing me on their video, and they've just obviously gone and copied it from YouTube and then put it into their editing software, rendered it and stuck it back on YouTube. That process makes me sound bad. And I don't like it. And I'm like, oh, it really exaggerates all of those weird phasey issues. So looking at what professionals use, hypercardioid, looking at mics that I like the tone of, and then figuring out what that frequency response looks like compared to other mics, and finding a manufacturer that makes one with a roughly similar response, with a roughly similar design, which is transformer balanced in a compact format, has led me to this mic that's going to come hopefully tomorrow, or two of them, because they'll have different capsules on them. One cardioid, one hypercardioid. And I'll try them both, but it's at no cost to me at this point. In other words, I'm being loaned them. So they're hugely expensive items if I am to buy them. And unfortunately for Suez, in the interim between me saying I wanted to borrow a different mic, I've got the mic lust in my veins and I've gone and bought cheap second-hand ones on eBay. So I've probably dumped so far about 300, all right? Something like that. About £300 into second-hand microphones. Which when I look back on it, I go, my God, that was stupid. That's about half the cost of the mic that I'm looking at. So if I really like it, it might be the case that I end up going, let's do a small GoFundMe for about half the fund for this mic, because I can't actually afford to buy it. Not that I actually need it, so I may or may not do that depending on whether or not I like it. I want to like it. That is to say, I want a smaller microphone that I can put in the same place as my old one and just make the comfort level of doing the show nicer than it was, which is to say, without it intruding on my person, which this mic does, as nice as it may sound having a large diaphragm right in front of me. So just to round this out, the one that I'm going to be getting, in case you did happen to be interested in mics, is called an 013 FET, or FET, and it's a transformer balanced, I say small, but it's actually quite large, diaphragm condenser microphone, and it's got a 24mm capsule, if that's 1 inch. I think an inch is 24.3 or something like that millimeters. It's just under 1 inch, and anything an inch or over is classed as a large diaphragm. So strictly speaking, this is still classed as a medium or small diaphragm because it's 0.2 or 0.3 or whatever it is of a millimeter under an inch. But it's as big as I can get in something that I can put on the end of a boom arm, and then with a hypercardioid capsule, hopefully get 2 or 3 feet away from me. And then it's above my monitor. It doesn't rob me of any screen real estate while I'm looking at the show and looking at who's rumpusing me on the lines, because I can't see them at the moment. This mic's in the way of that particular part of where I put things on my monitor. So how anybody else copes when they've got a giant, massive... I mean, this one to me looks like a penis. I'll be honest. It just looks like a penis. I'll put it on screen in case anybody thinks I'm making it up. That's what it looks like. And I think most of them do look like penises. So having a giant penis dangling in front of you is kind of distracting, as much as it's kind of crude to say that. That's kind of what it looks like. And when it's right in front of your face, like I see a lot of streamers, like literally it's right in their eye line. Like, how do you see your monitor when it's like that? The other thing it suffers from is handling noise. As soon as I move it, I can hear the creaking of the stress-ridden shelf that's actually like bowing under the weight of this massive thing with a transformer inside it. So yeah, like I say, this is a wonderful mic. It sounds great, and I'm definitely going to keep it. And if I do anything like that's not live, I'll rig it up and do voiceovers with it potentially, because it's such a nice sounding mic when it's not, when I'm not talking into the back of it. So anyway, so that's this. Hope it comes tomorrow, because I already am frustrated with this giant thing in front of me. It's just too big. Should we do some housekeeping rather than talk about microphones? How are you in Discord? Everyone ready to do a bit of housekeeping? Will I get some interactivity from you guys in Discord if I do housekeeping?
Let's go. Let's go.
Very encouraging. Is there any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's the horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth.
Absolutely not.
At the start of the show,
I got nothing.
in the pre-show, Neil was basically moaning about Nathan Thomas, or whatever, actually known as Nathan Thompson, and saying that he came into our show, that's Ballbusters, and was suggesting that he would be putting forth an argument of we see too far. We kind of want to draw a line on that, under that in 2025. There's no need to make this argument on behalf of our opponents that there is a limitation to our view called Earth curve, derived from a surface level and parallel eye level measurement, I might add. That's a flat Earth prerequisite that you need to assert that there is a geometric sphere edge below the surface level. But in so doing, when you say we see too far, you're automatically moving past the assumption of an Earth that's flat that you'll measure to derive a calculation of an Earth curve in orthographic view to assert that it blocks your view when describing the effects of perspective, and then suggest that because we see beyond that limitation in Earth curve maths, we see, quote, too far. No, we don't. We just see. Now, I did specifically put this to Nathan Thompson when he came onto Ballbusters, but it's like anything. You don't necessarily expect that it immediately sink in to the point where he could give a rendition of that. But I have encouraged Nathan Thompson to spend a bit more time around us. That is to say, start picking up on these better arguments. It won't take him long. But if he is out on the circuit debating people like Duffy with arguments like we see too far, that is kind of a bit disappointing. So we don't want to go out and make any enemies. We just want people to make better representations of flat Earth when they do go out and do debates out and about.
Well,
on
he
the
did
circuit.
say. Sorry, he did say that he's looking forward to us critiquing him on this. So maybe we can do a little treatment on it and see how he did. Because according to people in Discord, they sort of didn't do well.
Who from Discord has seen the modern day debate with Nathan Thomas or whatever? Anybody?
Come on,
seen...
Stevie.
Do you watch it, Steve?
I watch it, Nathan.
Okay, and?
I didn't think. Yeah, I didn't think he did real well. It was kind of a Will Duffy kicking his butt.
But was that because of the format? Was that because he was given more than ample opportunity by the team on modern day debate to give us a bit more of a why did he do badly? Did he just not have good arguments?
I wouldn't say that this time. No, it was just more of a. They had a format, and it was strictly about TF, the final experiment, and so that was Will Duffy's argument all the time, and then Nathan was sticking to that per se, and they would talk back and forth on Nathan mostly not answering or having a response other than red herring or something like that, but it didn't seem to work out too good for Nathan.
Is this something we want to cover?
I mean, just the way
do we want to go over it now? I mean,
sorry.
It's one of those things that I'm tempted to cover it now, but I know that inevitably it'll get covered on Ballbusters, so I don't necessarily want to cover it twice.
Hey, first come, first serve.
We do already have a video lined up from Friday that we didn't cover, so Astro Explains video. debunked flat Earth conspiracy. So we can cover this, or we can cover Nathan Thompson. Which one do you want to cover? If you want to cover Nathan Thompson, someone will have to dig me out the link. So which one do you want to do?
What was that?
It
other
doesn't
one,
matter to
Nathan?
me.
Is it worth covering, do you think, Steve? Or can it wait?
I couldn't hear you on the first one. What was the first one?
First one's just some rando. Just some
Oh,
debunking
okay.
flat Earth video.
I'd say we do that one and save Nathan Thompson for the whole team.
Okay, well, I mean, there's only you and I here at the moment, so if everybody else toddles in and is like, no, we must cover it, then we may cover it. I mean, this is only a 10-minute video anyway, so it may be that we agree with everything this particular person's saying about flat Earth conspiracy.
Hey, and welcome to a new series I'm going to be starting on this channel called Debunked. As you can tell by the name of it, in this series I'll be debunking common astrophysics, astronomy, space-related conspiracies. These include like flat Earth, people calling the moon landings fake, stuff like that. In this video I'll be talking about the flat Earth conspiracy theory where people are like, ooh, the Earth is flat, and yeah, and basically...
Is that the level of debunk that you'll be offering? So you'll be debunking people that say, ooh, Earth's flat. Okay, well, I mean, low bar. Let's see how you get on.
In this video, I'll be watching a bunch of TikToks and then I'll be replying to them individually. My goal is to debunk all of their talking points as they come up. So, yeah, thank you for watching. And, well,
We may agree on this. The audience may be surprised, that is to say, TikTokers and their rubbishy arguments, we may not necessarily debunk them in the same way, but we may also not agree with them being a flat Earth evidentiary standard that we'd adhere to. So, it'd be interesting to see where we agree with this guy or girl. I can't quite tell.
one last thing. This series is heavily inspired by Mini Min Man's Awful Archaeology series, so I don't know if I need to do this, but thank you so much. I'm a really big fan of Mini Min Man. So yeah, let's start.
3 proofs that the Earth is flat. Part 1. Number 1. Airplanes do not adjust the angle of their flight.
Awesome. I'd call that probably number 1 in terms of an actual evidentiary standard that we can present, NTSB, pitch data, and show that aeroplanes, their flights, prove Earth's flat. That's how they function.
Which is strange.
Yeah, that would be strange. If it was true, they do adjust the angle of their flight.
No, they do not. So, Dumbo, now you need correcting by a whole load of my audience that's going to pile into your stupid video and point out how dumb you are, you stupid cretin. So you're telling me that the NTSB data that we present here is wrong when it shows unequivocally that there is no adjustment for pitch. It's nose up with respect to the horizon. We've got data that's life and death affirming in terms of the investigators that use that data from the black box. No, mate. Earth's flat as far as pitch data is concerned. Is your hand wave going to be presenting some evidence alongside it? Or is it just your no, they do adjust? Okay, show the evidence. Because we've got NTSB pitch data that disagrees with your dumbass. Please let this guy or girl or whatever it is know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get eradicated by the YouTube censors or the YouTube videographer, him or herself. Links going by in the live stream chat.
It's just that because the Earth is so big, the amount that they have to adjust is very, very minimal.
They don't adjust at all. They're nose up with respect to the horizon. But what you're suggesting is that because Earth's so big, they don't have to do it very much at all when they're actually nose up. Number 1, they don't adjust at all. It's not just a minimum amount because Earth's so big. It is just measured flat in the pitch data.
Into space. Number 2.
Like, what? Was that just a little what would be happening, but for the fact that they're nose up with respect to the horizon in your paradigm, they go off into space? Is that what you just said?
If it was true, they do adjust the angle of their flight.
No, they don't.
It's just that because the Earth is so big,
No, Earth's not so big in terms of it being ball-shaped, and your apologies for not measuring it ball-shaped with flights.
the amount that they have to adjust is very, very minimal.
They don't at all.
Into space.
It's the video that he's critiquing, so there's nothing to actually hear.
Number 2. The temperature in Antarctica and the equator differ significantly.
So what? This is garbage.
Yeah, of course there are different temperatures.
Although
Yeah, I agree with you. So what?
the distance from these places is extremely insignificant.
Alright, I'm gonna introduce you to something crazy. It's called the Earth is on a tilt. And hear me out on
No. The description of a tilt at vernal equinox comes with respect to the flat Earth measurements of elevation angles and the plane of reference that's describing the tilt from. You need a flat Earth to describe an axis and tilt it.
This one, the tilt causes less sunlight.
Sorry, tilt? No. You need to find out your origins of these words that you're using. How's the tilt described in respect to the measurements of Earth? You'll need a flat plane for an axis to tilt.
To reach the pole, and more sunlight to reach the further you get to the equator.
No, you're describing the Copernican and Keplerian heliocentric description of a sphere Earth. Well, that mathematics comes from within Earth, at its core, when you move around a heliocentric-based planet you call the Sun. In reality, you can't experience the Keplerian orbital motion because it's describing Earth at the centre of hell in your version of a sphere Earth in a vacuum. You can't be in hell to describe these tilted orbital motions as described mathematically by Kepler. That's a reification beyond ability because you can't stand in the centre of Earth.
Isn't this insane? This is like whole new science.
None of this is science. What's he talking about? That's a category error, dumbass. None of this is science. Science establishes the cause of naturally occurring phenomena through actualization of hypotheses. That's to say, you observe natural phenomena, presume a cause that may cause it. That's your hypothesis construction. An if and then statement. If your presumed cause, then the effect you observed at step one. And then you actualize that in an experiment. Vary and manipulate that which you assume causes the effect, and see if it causes the effect or not. That's science and the scientific method. Natural science, physics. None of this is science. You're a clown.
When you understand that the Earth is flat, then everything becomes clear.
I'm gonna be honest, I can think of like a million different things that makes more sense with the globe Earth. I mean, take this for example. Gravity.
Sorry, you think gravity makes sense because Earth's a globe when the reification of flat Earth measurements into a Keplerian model in orbital motion of a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum is where you derive these concepts like gravity to apologise for effects that we don't observe, like people on the bottom of a antipodal-based system derived from flat Earth measurements sticking to the bottom of said antipodal position. No, then you need a force of gravity that was superseded 110 years ago by Einsteinian, Pseudo-Riemannian bent space-time geometry. But no, your apologies come in the form of gravity. But there is no force of gravity to hold you on the bottom of a ball that you're reifying when you describe said motion in orbits from the centre of hell.
Number 3. If the Earth were spherical, ships would not even see lighthouses at night.
Once again, and hear me out on this one, the Earth is big.
But
Oh, really, dumbass? So why is it that in your Earth curve mathematics, the horizon that would block the view of a lighthouse for a boat would be at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet? That's your Earth curve mathematics. It requires a flat plane of reference to measure called surface level. It requires you raise above sea level and measure it with respect to your parallel eye level to surface level to assert that there's a geometric physical sphere edge at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So big, why is it in this stupid maths then, you stupid clown? Maybe you need to learn your stupid religion, otherwise you wouldn't have me, Nathan Oakley, a flat earther, sending an audience to your video to point out that Earth's so big, we measure it flat. Yeah, well, you can take that as read. That's all it means. We measure Earth flat. Meanwhile, you've got an assertion of Earth curve that comes with a physical geometric sphere edge debunked in 2020 at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So according to the rhetoric that you're trying to debunk, it's a we see too far rhetoric that I despise in 2025. And nevertheless, the assertion on TikTok's correct. Based on a physical geometric sphere edge limitation at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet that would limit the view of the boat of the lighthouse if Earth was a sphere. We debunked it with the Black Swan in 2020. It is absolutely your rhetoric that there is a sphere edge blocking the view of lighthouses. But Earth's so big, is it, eh, clown shoes? Yeah, take it up with your Earth curve mathematics that we debunked in 2020.
ships always see lighthouses regardless of the distance.
And then Earth's flat. Welcome to flat Earth. So there's no sphere edge blocking your view then? Yeah, so no Earth curve. Welcome to flat Earth.
All right, that was something. Next TikTok.
The Earth.
So you had nothing for that. You didn't understand your own rhetoric of Earth curve blocking the view. You didn't understand the position of the person on TikTok debunking it. That was something, was it? Yeah, it was a debunking. It was a rubbish debunking. It wasn't anywhere near as concise as Quantum Eraser's Black Swan, which is as follows. If the Earth was a sphere, like this dumbass believes, then every distance to the horizon, that's Earth curve in his rhetoric, could be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, exactly as per the mathematics he doesn't understand or know about. The distance to the horizon in the Black Swan image, as we have fondly dubbed it, is beyond the limitations that the Earth curve edge he must believe in, or she, I can't quite tell, would be if measured. That's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and it isn't. Therefore, Earth is not a sphere. The horizon is not Earth curve. Debunked 2020. Meanwhile, the maths that's used to assert we do have a geometric sphere edge horizon at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet that this clown shoes doesn't even seem to know about, that assertion requires a flat plane of reference called surface level. It also requires it remains flat and doesn't bend in any way, shape or form because it would violate the geometry that's being utilised in the maths. Furthermore, to affirm that it must remain flat, that surface level, being measured, with heights above it in the form of sea level, and height of I for the calculation at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's eye height in feet. That eye height must be parallel with surface level, as depicted in Earth curve maths. Earth is measured flat for Earth curve maths being denied by this girl or boy.
Earth is flat, stationary, and nothing proves it better than what you're about to watch.
Oh boy.
Let's start with this. We're told that Earth is a spinning ball.
I mean, you'd be
So this will be a rubbish standard. Your TikToker's telling us that you're going to prove Earth's flat, and then his starting premise is if Earth's a ball. Ugh.
correct about that. It is a spinning ball. Next question.
And what has the opponent done? All right, thanks for begging the question on my behalf. I already win. You've already assumed Earth's a sphere. Yeah, weak debating on behalf of the TikToker, and you're just taking advantage of somebody postulating your position on your behalf before you've got through it. Well, you're smart. Meanwhile, I already delivered a begging the question assumption of a sphere Earth with radius 3959 miles, and how the distance to the geometric horizon you must have was debunked in 2020 by showing it isn't where it's supposed to be measured. You just say Earth's so big. Yeah, look at Earth curve master mass and learn how your Earth so big will be measuring it flat argument is what we've advanced to in 2025.
Hurtling through space at 1,000 miles per hour, putting the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, while chasing the sun at nearly 500,000 miles per hour.
I mean, all those numbers seem accurate from my research.
That's a lot of motion.
Where'd you get the numbers? Did you look into where those calculations were derived? Oh, you didn't? Oh, maybe you'd like to look into those flat Earth prerequisites that the measurements derived by Kepler and Huygens for scale and distance were derived, because you'll find you're measuring Earth flat for them. Were you not aware? Oh, maybe I'd only just hinted at it vaguely when I described being in the centre of hell for Keplerian orbital motion. Yeah, you'll be in the centre of hell on your reified ball that you're not standing on, you're standing in, on a flat plane, to utilise angular measurements to stars off a flat plane. That's how Earth's measured. To derive your orbital motion to give you these distances and these speeds that this idiot TikToker's appealing to. Yeah, the origin measurements of all of these claim to be numbers that you vaguely agree with because they're talking in context of heliocentrism. They're all derived from a flat plane. Measurements of the flat plane that we dwell atop.
Yet somehow we're perfectly still.
Alright, this one is a really easy one to debug, actually.
Debunk, he's offered your position, but then just asserted by hand wave that we're perfectly still. Now, the perfectly still doesn't even need evidentiary standards. It's a non-claim. Me saying we're not doing something doesn't need standards of evidence to evidence it. If you say I'm doing something, then you need to prove that. It's a positive assertion that only has the burden of proof upon it. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that when I'm sat here doing nothing, if you suggest that I'm rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, you better have some standards of proof for your extraordinary claim. This guy's just hand-waved it when he didn't have a burden to fulfill. That's the TikTok guy.
I don't know why they think this is a good argument. We can't feel the speed of Earth moving.
Well, you would. If it was.
Because we're moving with it.
Oh, really? Do you not know how your inner ear works? You never sat on a roundabout before, you utter clown?
I mean, I don't think this person's ever been in a car, but if they have, then...
Yeah, I know when I'm moving if I'm in a car. Yeah? It's because I've got an inner ear that tells me when I'm moving.
they would know that you can't feel the car moving.
Yeah, you can. Your inner ear would tell you.
You just kind of feel like.
Do you not? Have you got into cars and then felt like you're not moving when you're moving? You're a stupid idiot. I suspect you don't even have a driving license.
You're sitting there. When the car is accelerating, sure, you can.
Neil, can you take over? Somebody's at my door and my wife's taking the kids out. Back in 10 seconds.
Did this guy actually say that you do not feel that you're moving when you're in a car? Is he out of his freaking mind? What does he do, 2 miles an hour? And you would still feel like you're moving. So I don't know where he's coming from. That's absurd. But what do you expect? Anybody in Discord? I said, anybody in Discord have anything to say about it? Yeah, Neil, we all think it's outrageous. How dare he say something like that? I agree 100%. What about you, Adam?
I didn't even hear your question, to be honest.
This guy's claiming that you do not feel like you're moving when you're in an automobile.
But you are.
But do you feel it?
Sometimes.
Of course you feel like you're moving. Come on. What is he trying to say? Because you're still in the car, you're moving? You don't feel like you're moving? Well, bodily, I'm not moving. Hold a cup of coffee and accelerate or make a right turn. You'll know you're moving right quick.
You always feel it because nothing's constant.
Thank you.
And it's also spiritual pleading, isn't it? I mean, they always make this sort of argument, just like the other guy with his Home Depot. He's like, oh no, you can't see it because it's too big. Oh no, you can't feel it because it's actually not speed, it's blah, blah, blah. Always spiritual pleading for this big thing or whatever it is.
You can feel that, but because you don't feel the earth accelerating because it's moving at pretty much a constant velocity, you don't feel it.
Yeah, you'd feel it because it's rotating, therefore you've got acceleration, and you detect it in your inner ear. We don't because it isn't. You haven't proven your extraordinary claim by suggesting with apologies that you just wouldn't notice. I mean, I could make up any old outrageous crap and just say you just wouldn't notice. Yeah, your body's full of thetans. Yeah, like the Scientology nonsense. You just don't notice. Yeah? You're basically being controlled like a puppet by these spirits of thetans. You just don't notice. You wouldn't notice.
And the stars above us, like Polaris, the North Star, don't seem to move.
That would be because, hear me out, most, if not all of those stars are in the same galaxy as us.
Take the...
Sorry, your rebuttal for Polaris not moving is that the stars are in the same galaxy. Okay, do I need to actually address that? I'm pretty sure I don't need to address that.
Georgia Guidestones, for example. They had a small hole drilled through one stone that perfectly aligned with Polaris for over 40 years.
I mean, you know, this one would probably be because 40 years, hear me out, is not that long in a universal scale.
But
If Earth were really
what does this prove for either side? Okay, so you got Polaris and it doesn't move. Okay, yeah, it's the pole star. Yeah, great. Yeah, until you expand on that and say we measured it and derived a system with it, latitude. Who cares? Because then you haven't got a measurement to assert. If you actually look at Polaris and say, here's how we measured Earth flat with it, then you've got something. But as for my story of Keplerian orbital motion comes along with a nonsense waffle about it being a really far distance measured with a flat Earth, and it's a really short period of time in the scale of heliocentrism, massive motions and time scales. Well, you're just rattling off your rhetoric from your religion and expecting us to just swallow it because you say so. No. But the same applies to the TikToker. So what? Polaris doesn't move. And? So what? Till you start offering me some measurements that have a respect to the surface of Earth, I don't care. Now, we do that. Polaris is utilised for all of the mapping systems. We measure Earth flat with it. It's the end of that. The globe also is derived from that measurement. Your outside edge of your ball that you think you're standing on, or in this case, is the equator. That's the minimum elevation angle to Polaris on a massive, flat, equatorial plane that the world will be described from within if you're going to describe any Keplerian orbital motion, because it's all derived from angle measurements of stars and their movements with respect to a plane.
Dipping through space in all these directions.
There is no space. I don't know why the TikToker's appealing to this. It's their rhetoric, not his.
Shouldn't that alignment shift constantly?
I mean, no, not really.
But it didn't. Here's the explanation you probably didn't hear in school.
Here comes the conspiracies. Great.
The Earth isn't spinning, orbiting, or chasing anything. It's stationary, flat, and enclosed.
Yeah, but that's just a baseless assertion unless you offer some evidentiary standard or some practical applied measurements.
I think I literally just explained how it is doing all of that.
No, you didn't explain anything, you stupid muppet.
And why that's true.
Above us, the sun, moon, and stars move, not the Earth.
Oh boy, now he's a geocentrist. Great. Yes, the stars moon. Yes, the moon moves. Yes, the sun moves. Yes, the Earth moves. Everything moves.
Well, not really. Your whole religion is based on the sun being static in the centre of a system known as heliocentric. That means sun at centre, with you moving around it. What are you babbling about? This guy just doesn't know his own religion, does he?
And the firmament, a solid, dome-like structure, keeps everything in place, creating a sealed, balanced system.
Hey, okay, so I just have a quick question for you. Then how do meteors hit Earth?
How do meteors hit Earth? What meteors? Show me one. This is a story.
The one that hit Russia in 1908, I think, shattered windows and exploded before it hit the surface, though.
Okay. I mean, prove that's the case. In terms of things coming to the ground, you're going to prove their origins are a sky vacuum that would leave us all dead with no gas to breathe? Definitely not. Now, I don't know what you're claiming has hit the ground, and I haven't seen anything hit the ground. I've seen plenty of lights fly across the sky. As for them hitting the ground and being rocks from the sky, seems absurd. I'm going to need some pretty high standards of evidence for you to actually prove that to me, because rocks from the air seems ludicrous. You know, rocks don't live in the air.
I think Chicken Little said it best. The sky is falling.
Well, if he's going to assert that, he's going to need to back it up with some evidence beyond something that's being written about and said, here you go, on this date, a rock came from the sky. Did it? Show me the rock. Oh, you can't. Oh, it just disintegrated on impact. Was it an impact? Who saw the impact? Have you got photographs of it coming from the sky and impacting the ground?
How? Explain this to me.
Let's talk about water.
Yeah, meanwhile, the claimed rhetoric where the rock, which you think has collided with the ground, despite of having no evidence to back that, is claimed to have come from a sky vacuum that we can debunk based on laws of nature. So if the sky was a vacuum for rocks to come from, then the gas we breathe, which expands in all directions at a high velocity, would expand instantaneously into the volume of space you think these rocks come from. Meaning that we'd have never developed gas pressure on the surface of a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum, because the first particle of gas would leave the surface of Earth, travel into the sky vacuum to never return. And so with the second and third and fourth particle of gas, we'd never develop gas pressure, because the gas would always escape into the area you think rocks come from.
Ever notice that water always finds its level?
No, that's an axiomatic principle that's used in building stuff. So it's not that I'd notice it, it's axiomatic and useful.
Yes, because of gravity.
But because of what? Bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time? You think that water finding its rest is because of gravity? Number one, no, water will never be level on the surface of a sphere Earth because there are no level surfaces on a sphere Earth. So, no. Secondly, gravity is the bending and warping of a pseudo-geometry invented by Einstein 110 years ago. So, what? Nonsense waffle from an idiot.
Oceans don't curve or bend.
That's correct. We have sea level. It's used in measurements.
But, like, they do? That's why...
Sorry, so when we measure sea level, it's bendy sea level? Is it? You utter clown? No, you're stupid. Oceans do not bend. We acquire measurements For things like your Earth curve fantasy, surface level is measured with respect to your height above sea level when you measure height of eye if you're looking out at a horizon over the sea. You need to know how high your eye is off the surface level. Eye level. These aren't bending, but you're just going to assert it by pure fear. It's just bending sea level. No, it's level. Clues in the title. Sea level. Used in measurements.
Ships disappear over the horizons.
Earlier it was too big for that to happen. Earlier you said, no, Earth's so big we won't lose track of lighthouses. I pointed out that in your Earth curve rhetoric, you've got 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, giving you the distance to the geometric obstruction that would block the view of lighthouses. Now you've got things going over the horizon that you formerly decried.
Have you never been to the ocean?
Sorry, you just said we wouldn't have a blocking view. Now, we debunk this crap based on the fact that you need a flat Earth to measure for surface level and eye level being parallel for a geometric sphere edge that was debunked in 2020 by the Black Swan. The one that you denied when you said Earth was so big. Keep up with your own stupid idiocy.
They remain flat and contained, with Antarctica acting as a barrier around the edges.
I'm at a loss for words. Does anybody actually believe this stuff?
Well, it's all based on belief in terms of what you're responding to, so the TikToker's not supplying any evidence either. I mean, I will. I'll talk about Polaris having a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to it to derive the latitude system off a flat Earth, and your heliocentric motion in orbital terms being derived from those systems. The measurements of angles off a flat Earth to stars. That's what I'm putting to you. What you're doing is picking out the lowest possible hanging fruit off TikTok. So you can hand wave it and say Earth's so big we won't have a physical geometric sphere edge block the view of lighthouses. Oh, really? Yet moments later it's, oh, have you not been to the beach? What, to see the sphere edge horizon that we debunked in 2020 blocking the view of a lighthouse in the distance, perhaps? You total clown!
If Earth were a sphere, water would flow and curve, defying its natural behavior. Now, think about airplanes.
Okay, so now they're just gonna start using the evidence that we disproved because their evidence just doesn't make any sense and isn't correct. And now they're just using that to push their...
But what evidence? He just pointed out that water's flat when at rest, and if Earth was a ball, it'd be curving. You said it did because of gravity, and now you're suggesting that the evidentiary standards is lacking. You agreed! You justified it with bent pseudo-Riemannian bent space-time. A geometry bends the water according to you. But yet now the rhetoric's woeful. What are you babbling about? Contradictory much?
They're like, not...
The mathematics... The mathematics he's appealing to doesn't have a bent Earth in it either. I don't know what he's on about.
Doesn't know what he's on about either. He's just made a video because he's triggered by people who say the Earth's flat on TikTok. So he feels that shut your channel, shut your attitude is going to win over when he says, no, you're just wrong. Hand wave, hand wave, hand wave. When he doesn't know his own flipping rhetoric.
True stuff, like the flat Earth. It's just kind of stupid. I don't have anything else to provide for this video, for this specific TikTok at least.
Okay, well, you didn't have much to respond to. Like I say, you picked the lowest possible hanging fruit. What are you going to say to me when I tell you Earth's measured flat with an angle to Polaris? And it develops all the mapping systems, including your ball reification. What are you going to say to me? You're going to have much for me?
So, next TikTok.
Here is a way you can prove the flat Earth irrefutably. Ready for it? The Suez Canal. That's right. This engineering marvel is over 120 miles long and completely level the entire way.
I might have an idea of what they're trying to argue here. I think that they're trying to say that the Suez Canal doesn't accommodate for the difference in water levels between the Red Sea and...
But did you say the difference in water levels? Is that what he just said? Water levels?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought your that was rhetorical. I apologize.
And the Mediterranean. The reason for that is it doesn't really need to. They're very similar.
So it does, the water doesn't need to bend around a curved surface of Earth that you think it is curving. It doesn't need to. No, it doesn't. Welcome to flat Earth.
Water levels.
Yeah, water level. Yeah.
No dips, no drops, just straight flat water.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, if the Earth were truly a globe...
You don't need to do this, TikTok idiot. Just say it like it is and then move on. Yeah, it's flat. The water's flat. It's flat for thousands of miles. It's flat for hundreds of miles. It's flat for a mile. Whatever you're asserting, assert it and then move on. Not if Earth was a sphere and then it would be bending. Leave that to your opponent.
We'd expect to see some sort of curve over that.
No, we'd have curve, they'd measure it and they'd show us the measurements, but their measurements come from a flat plane measurement of a surface level and parallel eye level. So no, we wouldn't see it. You're just wrong in this regard to their rhetoric. Their claim is we measure Earth flat with surface level, we then measure how high our eye is off the surface level, parallel with it with eye level, and then with those two values we can derive a geometric sphere edge below surface level with a dip calculation, as in the differential between surface level and eye level that are both flat. We can assert that that difference creates a geometric point below the surface level called Earth curve. That's not to suggest that we would expect what this TikToker, who's presumably a flat earther, is now asserting we'd see with our own eyeballs if Earth was a sphere. That's just wrong. No, it's never ever implied. It's only ever in existence in the maths. We wouldn't see a physical geometric sphere edge because no such beast could be possible to be seen. It would be below the flat surface level that's being measured to assert it mathematically. That's idiotic to even assume you can do. You can't say, if I look out and measure Earth as a flat surface, then I reckon if I go up higher than the surface level I've just measured, and measure how high I am off that surface level, and assume that my eye line is parallel with that surface level, then I can derive mathematically a globe edge below the surface level I just measured. No, you can't. So it's incorrect for Flat East to assert this on their behalf. Stop making globe Earth claims on people's behalf. Yeah, just don't do it. There's no need.
That distance, right? So,
all right, never mind. I have zero idea what he's talking about here.
Well, then you're a clown. If Earth's a sphere with a radius of 59 miles and every distance to the geometric horizon, the one you denied that you wouldn't be able to have blocking the view of lighthouses, the one that you said you wouldn't have because Earth's so big, well, in your maths, it's at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the distance to the physical geometric sphere edge below surface level in your maths. That's what he's talking about. Learn your own stupid religion before you make a video. Otherwise you'll have me, that's my name's Nathan Oakley, shouting at you, telling you you're an idiot, with total justification because you are. You don't know? Then why did you press record?
Here, I think he's just saying stuff, honestly.
why is it perfectly level? Let's dive deeper into this. You've got this massive canal connecting the Red Sea to the Mediterranean, allowing ships to travel in both directions with ease.
Isn't that kind of the point of a canal?
But if we're really living on a globe, shouldn't there be at least a little drop-off along those 120 miles? Even just an inch?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. You can literally...
Yeah, because he's talking about curved canals when the assertion of Earth curves come from the geometric limitation at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as asserted in orthographic mathematics known as Earth curve maths. The begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve mathematics is what's being alluded to on your behalf by your opponent on TikTok, but you don't even understand what he's talking about. Yeah, we know. Yeah, you said it's just so big you wouldn't notice that there'd be a missing lighthouse. Yet you don't know your own maths. I'm having to educate you on your stupid maths that measures Earth flat to assert there's a geometric sphere edge horizon at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet when you measure a flat Earth to get your height above it. Yeah, we know you don't know. You're dumb. Very, very stupid.
Literally see the curvature of it in the image.
No, you can't. There are no curves in images. It's only in an orthographic mathematics called Earth curve maths at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet when deriving this calculation from a surface level measurement. The surface level's measured. Your height of eye parallel with it's measured. Earth curve isn't measured. There's no Earth curve in images. You idiot.
That's what you'd expect if the Earth curved, right? So why is it completely flat?
He is just saying stuff.
No, he's not. He's not just saying stuff. He's offered up an axiomatic principle in terms of the way that water will operate. And then he's described a vast expanse of it, proving Earth is flat. Now, he's not doing it to the standard I'd do it, and he's postulating his opponent's position in terms of what Earth should do if spherical. Now, I wouldn't do that. But he's still absolutely without question making a point that any dumbass could understand if they had half a brain. It's flat, water's flat, it's vast. That's his point. It's not complicated.
In fact, here's a little experiment for you.
This will not be an experiment. I detailed what an experiment earlier was. The elucidation of an effect observed in nature through systematic experimentation based on scientific prediction. That's science. This won't be that, I guarantee it.
The next time you fly, try recording the entire flight.
That's not an experiment.
Just let the camera run and notice something.
No, you're not measuring anything if you're just running a camera and looking out the window with it. Meanwhile, we've got black box data from the NTSB that shows that Earth is measured flat with the angle of elevation, the pitch of the plane with respect to the horizon being nose up for the entirety of the flight. Reference to a flat surface. Earth's measured flat. Don't need to look at your plane with a camera phone. This is garbage.
There's no curve.
Really? What about an axiomatic principle of the horizon when utilising it to establish a surface level for measuring the angles that the globe was made with? You use the horizon practically. Oh, just look at it. There's no curve. Crap.
You can see the horizon line in this. And also, you wouldn't be able to see yourself going over the curve.
Would you not? It wouldn't be at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, eh, dickhead? Learn your own stupid religion. Yeah? Go ahead.
I think he was getting ready to say the horizon's Earth curve. He's on the verge of saying it, but he just won't. You know what I mean? Like when he sees the horizon in a picture, he thinks he's seeing Earth curve.
Oh, that's a fact.
Because you'd be going with the curve. Once again, the Earth is big.
No, I called it correctly. Stupid idiot doesn't know his own stupid Earth curve maths. Yeah, your geometric limitation called Earth curve in orthographic representation derived from a measurement of a flat surface level and parallel eye level is at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So big you're a clown! Meanwhile, your assertion of it being at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, which you deny because you're an idiot who doesn't know his own religion, was debunked in 2020 by the Black Swan. So first learn your stupid religion that you're denying, then realise it's been debunked. You don't even know you've got a distance to geometric horizon. You don't even know. You're denying it based on Earth so big. Yet once you learn it, no, it's been debunked. You utter clown.
Plane doesn't dip. You don't feel yourself
That's correct, it doesn't. We can prove it with NTSB pitch data.
nosediving to compensate for the Earth's curve.
Absolutely correct. Pitch data proves it.
Once again, because you don't have to nosedive.
Yeah, you would if you were negotiating a curve falling away from you, utter clown. You just don't because Earth's being measured and utilised as a flat plane surface. And the horizon's useful for level flight. It's a tool!
Even better, ask the pilot if they have to account for the Earth's...
Why? Why would you go up to a pilot, somebody that's potentially putting your life at risk if they're suddenly distracted with this nonsense, and ask them such a benign question? Learn how their instruments work, and then you'll know Earth's flat. The pilot and his opinion about whether or not he introduces sphericity is irrelevant. Meanwhile, we've got provable data from the black box that shows how Earth is being measured as a flat plane to reference horizontal to give you a degree of how much the nose is up above it for the whole flight when straight and level. That's how flights are described. Level flight. They're not describing that because of gravity. They're not describing that because it's so big we don't need to account for curve. No, you've got Earth curve that's supposed to be falling away from you, that's supposed to be a void ahead of you. If you believe the reified mathematics of surface level measurements turned into sphericity by Kepler, Copernicus and Huygens. If you believe your church rhetoric of a ball Earth in a sky vacuum, then yeah, you'd absolutely have the ground opening up ahead of you. Not that I need to make this it's not my argument. My argument is Earth's measured flat with pitch data. End of argument.
Curve while flying.
That would be because, hear me out on this one, they don't have to. Because...
Right, again, at the start of this video, he said that they do make minor adjustments, but Earth's so big. Now he's completely contradicting himself on his own friggin' video by saying the opposite. Oh my God. Make up your mind. Is it that Earth's so big they only have to make minor adjustments? Like you said earlier, they do have to correct for it. And I shouted at you, pointed out how wrong you were, and referred to pitch data from the NTSB. Or is it now that they don't have to?
Because the plane does it automatically.
Most
Oh, so they don't have to account for it because the plane does do it automatically. That's a contradiction in terms.
It's likely they'll look at you and say no. And let's be honest.
Who cares what the pilot of the plane says when I can reference the actual measurements of the ground with respect to the pitch data in the black box? The pilot's opinion becomes inconsequential to me when there's tools measuring Earth for the duration of the flight and how flat it is. And how, with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, they can describe with an angle the nose and its angle above the horizontal plane for the duration of level flight.
If gyroscopes don't account for curvature, then why should we? But let's not stop there.
Why phrase this shitty statement, if gyroscopes don't account for curvature? What the bloody hell? I just don't get it. If coffee machines don't account for garbage disposal, it's a gyroscope. It does what it does. If it doesn't account for Earth being a roast chicken, why? Why do that?
He's invited a if statement into what is. That's always a bad idea.
Yeah. Don't offer something suppositional when you've got a what is statement of fact when it comes to gyroscopic motion.
Let's...
No. Please stop there. You are hurting my brain and making me pissed off.
Oh, really? Oh, well, you make me furious, you stupid clown. You don't know your own religion of a sphere Earth for us to accurately debunk, so I have to summarise the position that you decry from your own side, for then me to move on to debunk the position that you didn't take for your own side, because you don't know your own rhetoric. So not only have I got to pull apart the crap that you don't understand, I've got to explain it to my audience correctly for you to then debunk it. And you're telling me you're annoyed with this TikToker? Oh my God.
Talk about emergency landings. If you look at flight patterns and emergency landings, you'll notice something odd. They only make sense on a flat Earth map.
That's not a flat Earth map. That's the as it is Gleason's
All maps are
North
flat
Pole
Earth.
centric azimuthal equidistant globe projection. Ugh. Go ahead, John.
All maps are flat. What is he talking about? A flat Earth map?
All maps are flat, but this is not a flat Earth map. This is actually a globe projection.
You know, the one that looks an awful lot like the United Nations logo.
That's a logo. That's not a map.
Okay, so hear me out. Here's the funny thing about trying to display spheres on flat surfaces. You can't. That's why all maps are inaccurate.
On a globe.
No, all maps are inaccurate because they've come from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to create systems like latitude grids, and then projected onto a globe to then have the globe and the points that have been converted from angles within the globe through the globe based on a system of the stars mapped based on them being wrapped around you in a spherical view after actually measuring them on a parallel plane and sky. Then you can project those points back onto a cylinder to cut out and roll out flat. And that creates the distortions. Not because, oh, well, you can't make a flat map from a globe, therefore it's distorted. No, you've started with flat Earth measurements of angles to stars to create systems like latitude, then projected points in the sky as though they're hemispherical from your viewpoint with a North Pole-centric system. Then you've projected through that projected star view a globe at radius 3959 from you within it, so that the angles still function when back calculated. That creates a mapping system that is above you in reified concept. Once you've got that, you can project that, as I just described, onto a cylinder to cut down the middle and roll out flat. That is the description accurately describing how the Mercator projection, otherwise known as the world map, is created. Heavily distorted because if you draw a straight line across a flat, straight, square grid that's originating in a circle, it will curve a straight line. That's why it's distorted. Because you've projected flat plane measurements onto a globe and back onto a flat map. But these numpties assume that, oh no, for convenience we have them flat. No. They would only work with elevation angles if they're flat. That's how we measure Earth, flat. So it's got to be a flat map. All maps are flat. But in the meantime, in the process in the last 300 years, we've gone through creating literally thousands of maps that take flat Earth measurements, project them onto a globe by way of the hemispheric or false spherical star projections onto maps that don't exist in terms of reified spheres, back out onto flat maps, creating huge distortions so that everyone can then, blame the flat map? No, blame the globe that's been projected in between, because it started off with flat Earth measurements, and those same flat Earth measurements are what are used with angles to the stars on the flat maps that they must be. The only thing that buggers up the whole thing is the globe projection in between. Shout out to Sensual Goat, I think it is. Yes, it is. Just seen Stan Collymore. What? I've just seen Stan Collymore up Cannock Chase. I wonder if he's watching or who he's watching. Stan Collymore's a footballer, isn't he? Why is he telling me about some footballer who's randomly spotted in some area? Thank you for the super chat all the same, Sensual Goat. I don't really understand it, but fine. Thank you.
The idea that the map, even if it was correct and everyone had spherical maps they walked around with, even if that were true, you still got the measurements from the flat Earth. So the shape of your map is really irrelevant to what the Earth is.
These landings are way out of place. It's almost as if the Earth isn't a spinning ball, but a flat plane, just like some of us have been saying all along.
I don't think this man knows basic geometry. I'm gonna be honest.
And water.
That's just a hand wave, isn't it? Not like I go, I don't think this boy or girl, whatever he is, understands science. I go, this guy or girl does not understand science because science is the elucidation of cause and effect based on naturally observed phenomena and actualization of hypotheses. Therefore, detailing what science is demonstrates why he doesn't understand science. Just saying this guy doesn't understand geometry, move to the next cut. Well, that's a baseless assertion.
Let's think about that too. When you spin water in a bucket, does it form a ball? Nope. It convexes outward.
What are you even trying to say? This point does not make any sense for your claim or for our claim. It's completely unrelated.
What, unrelated to a ball spinning with water on its surface? And either you have I don't know why I'm even suggesting that it could be a possibility. You fail to comprehend your own religion and the consequences thereof. Yeah, your religion's a spinning water ball. And you're saying you don't understand how this is consequential to your or his argument, then you're thick. You're just mentally retarded at this point. If you don't understand how he's relating that to your spinning ball in a sky vacuum with water on it, then you're dense. You're just thick. There's no other words for it.
I was taught that in school at a young age. The teacher spun a bucket around the head. The water stood in the bucket, and she likened it to the earth spinning. That's how I was taught.
Right. Number one, he's perfectly contrasted it with his first point, which is in terms of how we actually functionally utilize water for a canal, it's flat. And then what you've got in your religion is a spinning water ball. Then he details spinning water around in a bucket, and this guy can't believe his ears. You're just thick.
It does the complete opposite of forming a sphere. Water seeks its level. It doesn't curve around a ball.
I wonder why he'd be saying that.
It's in the very nature of how fluids behave. So why would we think oceans are bending around a globe?
Once again, we can literally see the oceans bending around.
A minute ago you didn't understand his point. But now you're saying we can literally see the oceans bending around, yet we can't see them because they won't be blocking lighthouses in the same video 6 minutes earlier. My friend, there's stupid and then there's you.
Maybe somebody, has anyone hit him with the slope-a-dope yet?
You go ahead, John.
I don't think you're getting that from TikTok.
It's worth it for our audience. Go ahead, John.
The slope-intercept formula measures the horizon slope at 0. The curvature is defined as the rate of change of slope. So there is no horizon on a globetard.
Oh, dear.
Around the globe.
It just doesn't add up. Now, I know what you're thinking. If all of this is true, why would anyone lie to us?
Please give me one good reason why the people would lie about the Earth being a globe. It doesn't make sense.
I like how he latches straight onto this. We would have critiqued the guy in the TikTok video again, because who cares? It's an appeal to motivation fallacy. It doesn't matter why he perceives this as a lie or the motivation behind his version of what he perceives to be a lie. It's measured flat. Why your perception of what you think is a lie has been pushed or foisted upon you is irrelevant. It's fallacious to question it. It's called an appeal to motivation fallacy. But what do you know? This clown is obviously going to latch straight onto that fallacious bit of reasoning used by the flatty. Yeah, shocking.
Makes sense to me why people would lie about that.
What's the motive behind convincing us we live on a spinning ball when in fact the Earth is flat? Well, let's talk money.
All right, 2 responses to this one. First of all, I think he's projecting, because I'm pretty sure that most flat Earth influencers do it for money and not because they actually.
Whoa, what? I've been here 10 years, I still have to e-beg. I'm talking about having accidentally overfinanced by buying second-hand microphones to the point of £300, and that might force me into a position where I may have to e-beg because I've formally asked to borrow something that costs £600, meaning I'll be £300 short. That is not because I do flat earth for money. That's not me suddenly raking it in when I get heavily censored by the YouTube algorithm. You having me on? This is done as a passion for the subject itself, for the greater good. I've got literally 2 hats. One, the flat earth hat, and the other, a YouTube hat. The flat earth hat says this is your destiny and this is what you should be doing. You're on the right path. God has decried it. He's telling you in various different ways, this is your path. Stick to it. Then I put the YouTube hat on and go, you're doing it wrong. Do this, and then you'll get more views, right? Now, most videographers who just put in the effort I put in would be 10x the size of my channel. But for the fact that I'm heavily censored, why would anybody say, oh, I'll go into that heavily censored arena to make as much money as possible? No, that's utterly stupid. No, I'm not raking it in, mate. Now, I've had to go to huge amounts of effort over the last 12 months to write a book to increase my revenue income, because I'm just above the breadline, by having an extra means of income by having a book out there. So no, I'm just about scraping by. I didn't pick the subject because I thought it would suddenly make me a millionaire. Yeah? Oh, yeah, what's that? You're a flat earther? Oh, well, we love flat earthers. Oh, tell us all about it, they all cried. No, like you, shockingly, while you take the position that you're going to mock and ridicule flat earthers for being stupid, you think that they go into it because they're going to get praise and money when you're actually decrying the TikTokers and calling them stupid. No, what we get isn't praise and money, it's called stupid by people who are, excuse my French, thick as shit. That's you. You're calling us stupid and you're thick as shit. You will get views, we won't. You'll be promoted in a YouTube algorithm that favours you and your content as you decry ours.
Actually believe in it.
Nathan?
Second of all, NASA.
Good.
Has he shown any evidence for any of his claims, or has this just been a hand wave dismissal the entire time?
Hand wave fest.
NASA is one of the least funded government agencies. If you're talking about anyone...
Did you just say... Did you just refer to how Earth being his religion requires government funding? Indirectly, that's what he's just referenced, right?
I give up.
Space exploration is a $1 trillion industry. NASA alone rakes in $69 million a day, every single day.
You do realize how expensive it is to send a rocket to another planet.
You do realise that the place you believe planets are is a second law of thermodynamics violation. Gas fills space, and you think the area above your head is a giant area of volume called space. Yeah, gas would fill... You wouldn't be breathing, mate. Yeah, you've obviously not been taught natural law because you'd be aware of the second law of thermodynamics and entropic dispersion of gases. Gas fills vacuums. We wouldn't have any gas to breathe. Oh, right, but you believe it's just justifiable that they spend 69 million a day because a rocket going to a place that doesn't exist is really expensive. Like, even if it did exist, how in unholy hell is it justifiable to spend $69 million a day on exploring an area that has literally yielded nothing for anybody? There has been no benefit whatsoever, if I assume it was real. It's not. The only reason they're spending that amount of money is to bullshit you that it is real. That's NASA's only purpose. Because they're not going to a sky vacuum.
No,
there is no sky vacuum.
That's not its only purpose. Because of that they buy the loyalty of people within our communities with that money to their religious pursuits. Because people do receive money from NASA and companies like that, they have an emotional attachment to this as an argument. It's clever.
Right.
From your tax dollars. To put that in perspective, that's more than what all the McDonald's in the world make in a day. And you can Google that if you don't believe me. The truth doesn't need to lie to win.
I mean, I actually don't believe you now you've suggested that I Google it. You know what I mean? Because I suggest that all you did was Google it, therefore it probably isn't true because you just got it from a Google search.
All right, now this person's going into how the government is lying to you, which
is an absolute fact that anybody with half a brain would realise regardless of the subject matter.
I mean, you're allowed to be mad at the government. The government does terrible things sometimes. Doesn't mean you have to be mad at NASA. NASA
is a government agency.
Isn't lying to you.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That's what government do. They're not lying to you. Okay, so you think that there's men floating around in a sky vacuum. Okay, let's just think about this for a second. So they're not lying. So the men in the suits, right, looking back on Earth in your bullshit world of sky vacuums and heliocentric ball Earths, right? The guys looking back at Earth will pretend that we're him. We'll empathise with this man in a suit, a space suit, sealed to keep all the gas inside the suit so that he doesn't, suffocate. He wouldn't want his gas that he's breathing escaping into that sky vacuum. And what's he looking at? Well, he's looking back at Earth and the clouds right next to the sky vacuum he's protecting himself from. Yeah, those clouds, representative of the high-pressure gas that's not contained, not dispersing into the vacuum that he's got to be very worried about. He needs a whole suit that's pressurized. He's had a lot of money spent on it to keep the gas inside the suit. I mean, Earth don't need a suit, though. Earth's good. I mean, gravity, yeah. Bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time geometry holds the gas in defiance of the second law of thermodynamics and entropic dispersion that will happen always without exception. It's a law of nature. It just doesn't apply to this scenario, except to the suit. The man in the suit, he needs to worry about the second law of thermodynamics and gas dispersion. But the ground below him, it doesn't. It's got a separate set of laws. Gravity. I mean, that's not a law, and it was superseded by a mathematical concept in a geometric term invented in the mind's eye of a man named Einstein, where we have bent space-time. But that isn't a force and won't be holding gas, and it doesn't matter because who cares? It only applies to the man in the suit. So it's all good. They're not lying to us. The second law just doesn't apply to the Earth. Okay.
And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this horrible video I made. This is the longest video I've really ever made that's this well edited. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment or subscribe or like or anything.
Oh, well, I will encourage that you are helped along in the YouTube algorithmic love. We'll find out if any of my audience has done it in a minute when I refresh and see. I don't normally do this, but I won't give enough time for anybody to do it now. But I would encourage, if you are in the live stream audience, to do this now, which is to say, pop along to this guy's video and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment.
If you really enjoyed the video and
he just admitted that this subject is so triggering to him. He made the longest video he's ever made. At some level, this scares him to death.
Well, either way, it's not normally the case that we're appealing to smaller YouTubers to do this, but the whole point of me sending my audience to you is, number one, because I'm a YouTuber, and I wish you every success in your YouTube endeavours. That is to say, I am sending my audience, which is considerably larger than yours, given you've only got less than 500 subscribers, to help you along. I'll encourage them also to give you a little like, which I'm going to do too. So again, helps you along in the YouTube algorithmic love that I so desire as a flat earther, but do not receive, being heavily censored at the decree of Congress. Meanwhile, we'll hope that you would do the same for me and put my link to my video if you were to do a response and address things like the elevation angle measurement to Polaris, being off a flat earth and developing your globe system that you believe in at the decree of the Roman Catholic Church, where it originated. Yeah, you could maybe respond to me with a link to my video. Yeah? Now, I might have shouted quite a lot. I'll be honest with you, just so you know. It's nothing personal. I've got a new microphone and I do actually need to test how well it compresses the sound through the transformer that it's balanced with.
So let me interrupt you so you could shut me up.
I'll need to be able to shout, you know, just to test the mic. Now I'm speaking into the right side.
What I needed to start doing, Neil, is just ignoring that he's talking and then talk back and forth. So how was your day, Neil?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I got to go into work tonight, but, you know, what are you going to do? This guy is an utter moron. He wouldn't even know what to do with an elevation angle.
John's subtle reference to what they do in Discord when they're doing badly, which is, if I can just avoid responding to you at all and have a side discussion with somebody ancillary to this discussion, I'll avoid having this debate make me look stupid.
Yeah. They do that, though.
They do that. Do.
They do in their pants.
Do, Neil. Right, but with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit me up on PayPal, supported my microphone lust, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.